Welcome back, gamers. I know my upload schedule has been kind of wonky lately, but with the holidays being what they are, it's just kind of crazy. But I've got a brand new deck profile for you guys, one that I think is going to be kind of fun. It goes over a monster of the meta from months ago, and that is younger Toguro. Now, he's kind of fallen off since he got his errata, but let's see if we can make him a little bit, more dangerous, shall we? I think we can. So, younger Toguro, for those who may not know, is one of the big bosses from the Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament set. He was an absolute menace because, well, in the show he's an absolute menace. He's a 6 hand size 32 health character with the all death and evil symbols, and he has the Team Toguro trait. He has a response once per turn. After your attack resolves, build it face down. Your rival builds the top card of their deck. So you get to clear progressive difficulty once per turn on your turn, you get an extra foundation, and you force your rival to get a foundation. And he used to say, as you can see here, enhance your attack gets plus X damage, X equals half the number of foundations in your stage rounded down. Now that has a cost of commit one foundation. So you have to commit one foundation to get X damage, X equals the number of foundations in your stage. So he's not free anymore. And he's honestly probably fallen off a lot because of that, because of shiny new toy syndrome. And we've gone into more speedster territories with characters like Rodan, or the more casino-style decks with combined firepower. We've seen Elder Toguro take advantage of that. But Younger has kind of fallen off the map, and I wanted to kind of look at him with some fresh eyes. So I built a Death Younger Toguro deck, as you can see, named Bruh, because bruh. And let's get into it. We're going to start with the attacks, and we have Colossus SWAT. This is a 6/3, 5 low for 5 with a 3 high block, powerful 4 and Titan. That powerful 4 is a lot of damage coming in. But Blitz, build the top 2 cards of your deck face down. At the end of your turn, sacrifice those foundations. This is a free +1 damage for Younger Toguro, because half rounded down. So this is an additional +1 to all of our damage for the turn. For Younger Toguro, we get 2 free builds that build in ready, that we can also freely commit to past checks, commit for Younger Toguro's ability, and then we can sacrifice them for some of our other abilities that we'll see later, and basically lose nothing, because they're going to be sacrificed at the end of the turn anyway. So, really cool card here for Younger Toguro. But the main card I wanted to build him around was Short Range Shot. This is a 5/3, 7 mid for 3 with a 2 high block, ranged in weapon. Response, after 1 or more foundations are destroyed, or 1 or more cards is discarded, this attack gets +1 damage. So, sacrificing foundations, or forcing your rival to destroy their own foundations, can boost the damage on this. If we can force our rival to discard cards, if we discard cards, we can just amp this damage up to hell and back. And at 7 base speed, that's pretty good. But also, Deadlock Blitz. Your rival sacrifices 1 foundation and discards a card. So that is +2 damage on this automatically if our rival has at least 11 foundations. And with Younger Toguro's response, we can push our rival to deadlock. We can force them into that 11 or more foundations, not only with Younger, but with some other cards we'll see here in a little bit. So being able to maybe play a Colossus SWAT, check a 5, have to commit a foundation, build 2 foundations in, commit 1 to give this a bunch of damage. Our rival's not going to want to take a bunch of damage, so they're going to spend some resources to block it. Then we build this down, clearing our card pool. We check a 5 on our Short Range Shot. We're off to the races. This is a really powerful card for Younger Toguro that I really like. And there's going to be a lot of... This is going to be like the main card I built around, along with 80% power that you'll see here in a minute. But it's really cool, and I think that this can be a really powerful kill card for him. For Disruption, we have Lizard Tail Splitter, a 4/3, 3 mid for 4 with a 3 low block. Enhance, discard one card. Our rival adds one card from their hand to their card pool face up, and then we both draw a card. So we get to discard a foundation. Our rival has to put a card from their hand into their card pool face up, and then we both draw a card. So if we did this, and then we built this down, forcing our rival to build a foundation, we then, stack a bunch of damage on this, force our rival to block it. They have 2 cards in their card pool now, and we can clear this with Younger Toguro to not only have an extra foundation, but a clear card pool, pushing even more damage through to our rival. We have Instant Shining Flash. This is a 4th... Oh, and Lizard Tail Splitter also has Deadlock Echo. So if we force our rival into that deadlock, we can give this card Echo, spending a momentum after it resolves to play it again from our card pool, getting another cycle draw, and forcing our rival to put another card into their card pool. Very dangerous there. As I said, we have Instant Shining Flash. This is a 4/3, 4 high for 4 with a 1 high low block, charge, ranged, and weapon. It's got Enhance, flip 1 foundation. The next card you try to play this turn gets -1 difficulty. This is another really good way to just start a turn, and then we can maybe play a Colossus Swat on a 5 after clearing this, or some of the other cards that we'll see. And response, after we play this card either as a form or a block, our rival has to spend a momentum. So just poking at the resources a little bit. But one of the other build-around cards here was 80% power. A 5/3, 4 mid for 5 with a 2 mid block, Breaker 1 and Slam. Breaker 1 meaning if we block with this card, our rival's next check to play a card gets -1. Very good defensive ability. But as an Enhance, we get to selectively destroy one rival foundation, and then they build the top 2 cards of their deck committed. So we can selectively destroy a lock breaker, a way that they can get out of deadlock, something that would force them to destroy their own foundations. We can target that down and destroy it, and give them 2 committed foundations, so likely they lose a ready resource, and we push them further into that deadlock zone. And then Enhance, if our rival has 7 or more foundations, this attack gets 2 speed and 2 damage, becoming a 6 mid 7 before any of our Younger Toguro damage boosts, and we can get rid of our rival's best defensive piece. Very dangerous card here. And lastly, for our attacks, we have Vile Seizing. This is a 4/3, 3 high for 4 with a 1 high block, another Breaker 1 card, and Fury. Enhance, our rival makes a check against a difficulty of 7. So basically, they mill the top card of their deck, check the difficulty of it, or the control of it. If they fail, we get to draw 1 card and give this attack 2 damage. Now, they can, of course, commit foundations in order to pass that check, but if we're threatening a lot of damage, are they really going to want to do this? They're likely going to let us draw the card and get the 2 damage on this. But another Deadlock Enhance. Our rival's checks get -2 for the rest of the turn. That is incredible. We can make sure that almost every attack touches our rival in the turn that we can use this Deadlock Enhance. Very, very dangerous. So that is the attack package. We are mainly focusing on cards like Short Range Shot to get massive damage. Colossus Swat and 80% power can help gather the resources on either side of the board to push forward our game plan. And then cards like Vile Seizing and Lizard Tail Splitter can just absolutely disrupt our rival to high holy hell. Onto our non-attack cards. We're not playing any assets or backups, but we are playing Showdown. A 3/4 with a 3 high block. It says response, after we block with this card, we get to selectively commit 2 rival foundations. Now we are obviously going to be building our rival a free foundation each of our turns, so having them going into our turn with even fewer resources so that it kind of balances out that +1 that they get to their stage is a very good trade-off here. Or response, commit 2 foundations. After your rival plays an ability on an action card, cancel it. We can cancel cards like Showdown. If our rival blocks with a Showdown, we can cancel Barrier Shield if our rival's desperately trying to block our attacks. We can cancel Runaway if our rival's like, oh, your Vile Seizing is at 10 damage because of the +2 here, and then you have 12 foundations, 12 damage, let's say. You have 12 foundations, So you give it 6 damage, it gets the +2, so it's a 3 high 12. I'm just going to take 4 damage because of the runaway, and I'm just going to cancel all that. We can cancel that with Showdown, so they take the 4, don't block the attack, and then they take 12. That is disgusting. But a very powerful card. I'd probably bump it up to 3, but I was finding things I had to cut because I had a lot of high blocks into this going in. Onto our foundations. Now, as I said, short range shot is going to be like the main kill card. You want to set this card up to push your rival into deadlock, force them to discard a card here, and sacrifice a foundation. So they'll obviously probably sacrifice a committed one, but they do get rid of a card in their hand. So if we can set this up after a deadlock vial seizing, so their checks get -2 for the rest of the turn, or maybe a deadlock lizard tail splitter, where we've put 2 cards into their card pool and threatened a whole lot of damage. Maybe we play this, and then on the second one, after we've echoed it, we can, after it resolves, build it face down. So we played 2 attacks, got the echo off, put 2 cards in our rival's card pool, maybe a third if they had to block one of these, and then we play a short range shot, getting another card out of their hand. So you'll see that you could then immediately use Younger Toguro to put a bunch of damage on it, and then sacrifice a bunch of your own foundations to bolster the damage of short range shot even more, especially leaning into that base 7 speed. And the first thing to do that is Coming to Terms, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. Enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. If your attack deals damage to a character, your rival loses 1 health. So each one of these Coming to Terms is basically an unblockable +1 damage. Even if they partial block it, they're just going to lose health. This can reduce them to 0. Very dangerous there. Next we have Concerned for Annie, a 2/5 with a 1 mid block. Very nice. It has a Deadlock Enhance, flip your rival discards a card. So we can flip to force our rival to discard a card in Deadlock to get an extra damage from short range shot, and with less cards in their hand, maybe they run out of cards to block with. But it also has this response: we remove it. After this card is discarded or sacrificed, our attack gets +2 speed. And there are ways that we can discard and sacrifice this card throughout the deck. We have Pushing the Limits, a 1/5 with a 3 high block. Response: flip. After you sacrifice 1 or more foundations, draw 1 card. So just a way to, as we're sacrificing things, we can get a little bit of card draw there. Smiling Death, a 2/5 with a 2 mid block. Response: remove. After this card is destroyed, which sacrificing is destroying, we get to selectively flip a rival foundation. So we can immediately sacrifice this as maybe like a first enhance or something like that to flip a rival defensive piece, something that could get them out of deadlock maybe, or something like an Always Cool, if we can get rid of that so that when we play the short range shot later in the turn, it's not locked at 3 damage. Very powerful control piece here. Next we have Latent Skill, a 2/5 with a 2 high block. Enhance, flip, discard 2 cards, draw 2 cards. More cycle draw. It's a discard outlet we can use for Concern for Annie to give our attack even more speed. Since Younger Toguro does do a lot of damage boosting, speed boosting is very, very helpful. So being able to just discard this, remove it to get 2 speed while we're drawing extra cards, really cool. Next, Split Body Control, a 2/5 with a 3 low block. When we're throwing 5-6 damage on every attack, our rival's going to want to block a lot of them. So response: flip. After our attack is blocked, we selectively flip 1 rival foundation, kind of like Smiling Death. We get to choose which foundation is flipped, whichever one is going to suit our needs at that time. Next we have Immortal Shapeshifter, a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 damage, bit of damage boost, and it's a foundation sacrificed for short range shot. And response: check a 5. So we make a check against a difficulty of 5. After one or more of our foundations is destroyed, we get to gain a health. We're already pretty beefy at 32 health, but if we can sacrifice a couple of foundations during our turn and leverage, a little bit more of that health, we can take even more shots to the face, maybe not have to block as much. Colossus SWAT sacrifices the foundations we build. If we don't sacrifice them for other things, that's a trigger for Immortal Shapeshifter there. Just a really solid piece here. But I like Frightening Calm here. A 1/4, 3 high block, enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. This attack gains stun 1. So we can give up a foundation to basically force our rival to commit a foundation, which also gives more damage to short range shot, gives it stun, so they have to lose even more of their resources. Just leaning in on this 7-speed move and just cranking it up to 1 billion is going to be the main way to throw a whole bunch of damage at our rival. Next we have Invincible Body, a very good defensive piece here. 3/5, 4 mid block. First enhance, remove, reduce this attack's damage to 0. Now, as long as this doesn't mean that it has to be the first enhance during the enhance step, it's just the first enhance that we play. So if our rival plays their enhance and says, hey, it's your enhance, we can pass. And it doesn't matter how many enhances our rival plays, as long as we don't play any enhance abilities before we play this one, we can reduce the damage of our rival's attack to 0. So if they see one of these on the board, they really have to wonder how much investment they want to put into each attack, which can lead to some pretty cool mind games where it's like, okay, well, you didn't boost that to a dangerous amount, so I'm just going to take it. And now you have to play the mind games again because I still have Invincible Body out. So, pretty fun. We have Settling Old Debts, a 1/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance Flip. If each player has 6 or more foundations in their stage, draw 1 card. Self-explanatory. It draws cards. We're both going to be building a whole bunch. It's all good. Toguro's Dominance, a 2/5 with a 2 mid block, ally and unique as its keywords. Response, sacrifice. After your rival plays an ability on an asset or foundation, destroy it. So if our rival tries to enhance, commit for -3 speed on a foundation on our short range shot, sure, we'll get the -3 speed, but we're destroying Toguro's Dominance and we're destroying the other foundation. So that's +2 damage on the short range shot for that response. And then as a Team Toguro enhance, which we are, we can flip this. Our rival spends a momentum. Just a little bit more momentum hate if we need it. Next up, Botan's Coaching, a 0/5 with a 3 mid block. Enhance flip, both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. So it's another discard outlet for our cycle drawing. It's another discard trigger for short range shot and for concern for Annie. So and it's a 0 diff, so it's just really good. Speaking of 0 diffs, one of the best blocks in the game, Syndicate Target. Pardon me. Rip headphone users, sorry. 0/6, 0 low block. If we play it as a block, we do lose a health, but it's a 0 low block, and it's a 6 check, so that's very much worth playing. Always Cool is a 2/5 with a 2 low block. As a static, it cannot leave our card pool during the combat phase. It's also got ranged and taunt. As an enhance, we can add this card to our card pool and build the top 2 cards of our deck. So before we use Younger Toguro's plus X, let's say we have 7 foundations, including the Always Cool, that would give us 3 damage, because it's half rounded down. But if we add this to our foundation, to our card pool, that puts us at 6, and then we build 2, that puts us at 8, we get the 4 damage. So it's a little bit of extra boost. It's kind of like Colossus SWAT, but we don't lose the foundations at the end of the turn. So we could do this also defensively. If we know our rival's not going to throw any more attacks, we can just build 2 free foundations. But as a response, we can also sacrifice it. After an attack is played, its damage cannot be modified. So if we know our rival's going to throw a whole bunch of damage on an attack, maybe it's like an Armor of the Wolf or something like that, or the attack has Powerful, we can just lock its damage it printed and take it to the face and not even worry about it. Next we have Struggling with Studies, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. As an enhance, we can flip it. If it's our rival's 3rd or greater attack this combat phase, we get to add 1 card from our card pool to our hand, so picking up our blocks to replay them. And as a response, before one of our other foundations would be flipped due to a rival effect, we can flip this one instead. So if they're trying to flip something like our split body control or our invincible body, we can flip Struggling with Studies to protect it. And lastly, Learning the Standards, a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. Response, flip after your rival builds an asset or a foundation during the combat phase, we get to flip it. That's kind of fun. Or response, remove, after we take damage from an unblocked attack, our rival must play a non-attack card as their next form or end their combat phase. So we take the hit, we remove this, and our rival has to play a non-attack card, which interrupts their attack strings, makes their progressive difficulty harder. Maybe we live to survive the turn. I would say this is really good with Always Cool, but you are giving up 2 foundations to take a little bit less damage, and then hopefully disrupt your rival's attack string. But that is going to be Younger Toguro, or my new take on the new Younger Toguro. Granted, we do have to commit a foundation to use that damage boost, but when we can then sacrifice that foundation for a whole host of other abilities, giving stun, burning for extra damage, giving more damage, I think it really works in a way to where instead of just being this massive monster that builds 15, 20 foundations, we're more playing the counting game of, okay, I don't need to build a whole crap ton, but I can just build, force you to deadlock, maybe rip you down out of deadlock a little bit, force you to deadlock, and use powerful abilities like Vile Seizing and Lizard-tailed Splitter so that when you're in deadlock, or Concern for Annie, if you're in deadlock, it's not going to matter that you have those extra resources, because I have ways to exhaust those resources anyway, while threatening massive damage on every single one of my attacks. Because imagine if you have, 12 foundations, that's 6 damage added to every attack. That's 5 low 11, 7 mid 9, 3 mid 10, 4 high 10. Let's not even get into the math on that one. 3 high 10, before adding any of this other additional stuff. So I think Younger Toguro definitely can put in more work. I just realize he's not as simple and linear as a lot of people remember him. We lost Mop Strike, I remember, because that was just a really good way to just draw 2 cards on your turn. He himself got errated. We don't have Twisting Azure Inferno anymore. So the death 4 difficulty attack package that just kind of ran rampant on everyone isn't a thing anymore. And he has an actual cost. But I still think there's something there if you're willing to put in the work and just keep on cranking up that power. So that's going to be it for the deck. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't. I do a whole bunch of different deck profiles, and if you want to see my take on a character, please leave it in the comments. I'm always looking for new characters to kind of wrap my head around. I know we have the solo leveling deck revealed now, and I'm just waiting for stuff to come up on Ultra for that. And next year, we're going to have a whole host of new sets to dive into, starting with Critical Role. So we're kind of in a bit of a state of flux, but I'm always interested in hearing what you guys have to say, and especially if you're a newer player trying to get your head around a character, drop it in the comments below, and I'll take a look at it and see what I can build and make a video out of it for you. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the algorithm things, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.